Hey guys, Coach Kirsten here, and this is my race report for the 2026 Oceanside 70.3 half distance Ironman. It went down on March 28th, 2026, and this was my very first DNF. Wah, wah, wah. I went into this race actually feeling really confident because I biked outside I think 6 times in the spring, which I've never ever done before this race. Usually I get to this race, the bike crushes me, so then I'm tired on the run. I've never had a really great Oceanside 70.3 race because in Colorado, it's typically the roads are really cluttered with sand and salt from all the snow and the ice. And this year we have had hardly any snow. We've hardly had any cold days, and I got on my bike a lot this year. So I was actually pretty confident going into my race. And it's always a little bit tough because it is most people's first race of the season. It's in March. And a lot of people come from California or Florida or places where they can train all winter. And I'm in Colorado. So usually that doesn't happen. I decided to do a whole spring break vacation with my daughter in California the week before the race. So we did Disneyland, we did Legoland, I hung out with my family, my friend Kat came, we hung out, we did all the things, we went to the beach twice. And by race day, I was a little tired, but I was still confident, I was feeling strong. I decided to go race morning. I decided to spend the night, sleep at my sister's house in Riverside. And so race morning, I had to leave the house at 3:30. It's about a little over an hour drive. And you have to park and shuttle, and there's not any parking at transition in Oceanside. So logistically, if you're going to do the race, just make sure you're a little bit familiar with it. It was really easy because you park at a parking garage and then take a shuttle into transition. So maybe 45 minutes total between parking, getting the shuttle, and getting to transition. So it's not too bad. Just be familiar with it. So I woke up at 3:00 in the morning, which, you know me, I'm not a morning person. But it was good. I had a great, super easy drive into Oceanside. Got to transition about an hour before the race started and got everything. Everything was great. Checked everything, had all my nutrition. It was pretty perfect temperatures in the 50s, high 50s, low 60s at the start, and was going to get up into maybe 70s, mid 70s in the afternoon. Partly cloudy, not very much wind, so pretty perfect conditions. The water was crazy because it's normally mid to high 50s, 55 to 58 degrees. And this year the water was 68 degrees. So when I heard that, I kind of freaked out a little bit because my line for when I wear a full wetsuit is 66 degrees. And anything above that, I usually like to wear my floaty pants because I get really panicky in the water when I'm hot. And so hearing that it was 68, I was sort of panicky. And I actually looked to see if anyone was renting floaty pants or anything. And I just decided, you know what, I'll be fine. So I did a lot of work mentally around just, chilling, being relaxed, going into the swim in case it did get hot. And it never felt really hot. So that was good. The race start was a little crazy because normally, the age group race started, I think at 6:50, and at 6:30, normally, people are all lining up to get in for the rolling start. And it was 6:20 and there was already everyone lined up. So to get toward the front where the faster waves go off, I had to, well, a bunch of people did, because I think we all underestimated how soon people would be lining up, kind of swerving through people, getting through. So, it's just a reminder when you do the rolling start, get there early if you're in one of the faster waves, anything under 33 minutes. Those are the front two groups. So get up there early so you don't have to really squish through everyone, because that was a little bit stressful, took a little bit of work. And then also, you guys, if you're doing a rolling start, if you're at a race doing a rolling start and you've never done this, please seed yourself according to your predictive time. Because the whole reason that Ironman and a lot of other places do a rolling start is because it makes it really safe. So if you're up at the front with the group swimming 30-minute and you do 40-minute, it just jacks everything up. And so and the reason I say this, because I heard while I was waiting, there's these guys talking next to me, and the guy was like, so I was in the wave that was 30 to 33 minutes for the 1.2 mile swim. And my time ended up 32. So it's right where I should be. But these guys next to me were talking, and this one guy said, he's like, yeah, I'm more like a 36, 37, but my coach told me I should start in a faster wave. And it just messes things up. So I was swimming all over people. I would say I passed at least 100 people during the swim. So just line up in your correct wave in the time you think you're going to do, and then everything runs smoothly. So swim was a little uneventful. It was choppy. We swim in the harbor, not in the ocean, these days at the Oceanside race. I haven't been in salt water in a while, a couple years, so it was a little salty, but I quickly, maybe in the first 200 meters, started remembering to close my mouth when I swim so that I wasn't ingesting a lot of salt. I was surprised how tired my arms got. I swim a lot and I've been lifting weights and I'm strong, but there's just no practicing for open water other than open water. So a couple drills while I was swimming, I was thinking I should have done more head out of the water, and then more the drill where you bind your feet together but don't use a buoy, and then you swim. So I've actually been doing those since I've been back, and I feel a lot stronger. So I definitely know my next race, I'm gonna feel a lot stronger in the water. I did get my goggles knocked off, and that was really annoying because then I couldn't seal it. And I feel like I spent like a minute, and I know that's not a long time, but when you're trying to go fast and trying to race, a minute is a long time. I probably had to stop 3 or 4 times to just wipe them out and adjust them. So that was a little annoying. But again, I hadn't worn those goggles since last year because they're prescription. So I don't swim in the pool with them. I should have at least once, just to make sure I remembered how they felt and how they looked. So again, these are things that when you do your first race of the season, you're like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. So more upper body drills, wear my goggles before a race. Other than that, I felt really good. I think my time always in the swim is between like 30 and 32 minutes. And I got right at 32 minutes. It would have been a little faster if I didn't have so many goggle things. But that's racing. And that's, it's always like, oh, I could have done this if this, or I could have done this if this. And you just have to let all that go and, go with what happened. So my swim was 32. I was second in my age group out of the water. I didn't know that. I saw that after. But I felt really good. I ran through transition. I did not know this. This is another thing, you guys. Go to the pre-race meeting. I didn't go because I didn't stay the night. I just drove to Oceanside, dropped off my bike and stuff. It was like a couple hours each way with traffic because it was on a Friday. And I did not stay for the pre-race meeting. And you guys need to do that because they might change something. And one of the things they changed that I didn't know is that they wanted us to wear our bib on the bike, which I don't know why because I didn't listen to the pre-race meeting. All I know is my transition, my bike rack was right by the swim in. So I had a long way to run to the bike out. And I ran in my bike shoes all the way to the end. And one of the volunteers was like, you need your race number. And I was like, what? And I thought she meant on my bike. And I'm like, it's on my bike. She goes, no, you need to wear your bib. And I was like, okay. So I ran back, put on my bib. So again, things happen, added time, but it was fine. I think my transition was like 5 minutes. So yeah, for some reason we had to wear the bib on the bike, which isn't a normal thing, but it might be now because I know there's some new rules for Ironman. I just didn't read them. That's completely my responsibility to have done that. So I felt really great on the bike. I started riding. I rode 25 miles, felt really, really good. The bike course is really rough. And I don't remember it being this rough. And I think this is my 9th time doing this race. But I've talked to a few people that have done the race in the past, and they're like, oh yeah, I remember it being really rough. So a few years ago, I did lose my arrow bottle. Like I hit a bump and my arrow bottle flew out. So then I got a clip for it. So if you guys are doing Oceanside race or a race that you know the road is really rough, make sure your water bottles are really stuck in the water bottle cages, because there were water bottles everywhere on this course. Like every time there was potholes, there'd be like 3 or 4 water bottles on either side. So just a heads up, secure your water bottles and your other nutrition, because some people probably have things like just hanging on their handlebars or in a little pouch, and there was just stuff everywhere, debris all over the place. So mile 25, I hit a bunch of bumps, and all of a sudden I heard a hole in my tire that went psst. And every time like I was still going, I was like psst, 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 psst. And I was like, oh no, I have a hole in my tire. But I have tubeless tires. And after like, I don't know, 30 seconds, it sealed it up so that there wasn't air coming out. So I was like, okay, good. So I kept going, but like within 100 feet, I hit a bump and I could feel that my tire was flat. So I pulled over, I checked, I had a flat tire. I carry a CO2 cartridge and a little cartridge thing. So I checked my tire and I saw no hole. Like I didn't see a cut, a hole or anything. I was like squeezing it. I couldn't hear any more air coming out. So I was like, oh good, it's sealed. So I went to go fill up my tire with my cartridge, and the air wouldn't go in, like the nozzle thing. And so I like tried again, and there was a bystander, and you're not supposed to take any outside help. But I didn't finish anyway. Anyway, he tried it because he's like, do you want help? And I'm like, yeah, I can't get the air. And he tried it. He's like, I don't know why it's not going in. And we used the whole cartridge, and like a little bit of air got in. So I was like, oh, I'll try riding. It was like, I don't know, 20 PSI. It was really soft. And so I started biking, but every time I hit a bump, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like destroying my bike. So I got off and I didn't know what to do. I was like, what do I do? So I started like walking my bike, and everyone that I walked by, I'm like, do you have a pump? I was going to try to use just a hand pump or a pump. And like a half a mile later, I ran into this girl who had a disc wheel and something was wrong with it, and she didn't know how to fix it. So she was waiting for a mechanic, and I was like, how long have you been waiting? And she was like, about 20 minutes. And so we were chit-chatting. I waited with her for maybe 10 minutes, and I was like, I was getting like antsy and bored, and I don't like just standing there. So I just started walking in my bike shoes with no socks. My feet were on fire. Blisters were forming. Tops of my feet hurt. But no, there's no mechanics. And we're on the Marine base. So every once in a while, there'd be Marines there that are directing traffic and making sure that it was all safe because the roads were closed. And, there'd be a guy with like a phone or walkie-talkie or something. And they're like, do you need support? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, okay, what's your race number? And I said my race number. They'd call it in. They're like, okay, somebody's coming. So like, I was like, okay. So a couple times I waited, but I'm like, when is somebody coming? And so I just kept walking. I'm like, well, I'm going to keep walking. So a couple miles in, I ended up meeting up with another girl who had gotten a flat. She changed it, but her wheel was really loose and she couldn't figure out how to tighten it, and she was too nervous to ride. I didn't know how to do it either. So her and I started walking, and in the Oceanside course, there's one really big hill, and we happened to meet at the bottom of the hill. So we walked up this big hill, and it was kind of fun because there was actually a lot of people walking, not with mechanicals, but because it's a really hard hill. And so we were chit-chatting with people, having fun, talking. She was young. It was her first triathlon. So we were talking a lot about racing and triathlon. And she's from San Diego. And we just had a good time talking. And, we kept saying, like, where is support? And anytime we'd walk by big groups of people, we're like, have you guys seen a support vehicle? And everyone's like, no. And in this process, I ended up walking 7 miles in my bike shoes, which was very rough. I took them off for maybe a mile, but then the bottom of my feet started hurting as well. But while we were doing this, there were several times, like this one guy rode past us with like the flattest tire, like no air at all. And I was like, he's got to know he has a flat tire. We were going to be like, dude, you have a flat tire. But we're like, he has to know it's so flat. And then we saw him walking his bike, and we saw him at the top of the hill, and he was like, I'm waiting for a mechanic. I'm like, so are we. And then he just started taking off on his flat tire, and he was like, I can't wait any longer. I don't want to miss a cutoff. And we were like, oh yeah, you're like, that guy's crazy, right? He's riding his flat tire. We saw him later. He didn't make the cutoff either. But eventually the mechanic, the race support came up, found us, fixed both of our bikes. We were at about mile 32, and we decided, yep, let's just keep on riding. So we rode, we were waiting to get to the next aid station, because walking, we drank all our liquid, we ate all our nutrition, because 7 miles walking is a lot longer than 7 miles biking. And we got up to the 46-mile aid station, so 10 miles before the finish. And we were stopped because we did not make the cutoff time. Honestly, I didn't even know what I've never looked at a cutoff time. I didn't know what it was. But there was a lot of people there. I would say a little over half were, because they just didn't have the speed to make it between their swim and their bike. And then maybe 40% were there because of mechanicals that never got serviced, or got serviced so late like ours did. I ended up walking about 2.5 hours. So didn't make the cutoff. So it was my first DNF, which means I did not finish the race. And I was actually okay with it. I've finished a lot of races in my days. I wanted to be in Oceanside because it's by where my sister lives. Cora and I did a road trip. It was really fun. It was her spring break. I signed up for the race because I'm like, oh, we're going to be here anyway. And I like this race, and I want to be down in Oceanside. And so I had a great experience. And I also was really neat because I got to, like the girl I was walking with, her name is Emma, and it was her first race, and she was really sad because all she wanted to do was finish. She had never done a triathlon before. So I got to hang out with her and talk with her and get to know her. And afterward, when we weren't allowed to ride in a transition, so we had to wait for shuttles, which took way longer than if we rode. But by the time we got back to transition, which is not at the finish, and everyone was waiting for us at the finish, we got to transition. I got all my gear, rode my bike to the finish. I ran into Emma and her mom, and they both thanked me for just being with her and helping her get through it. So that was really, really rewarding, and that felt really good. I was a little worried because I knew there were people that were tracking me, and I knew that they wouldn't know what happened. And so I was really desperate to find my phone, especially to get a hold of Kat, my friend, because she was with Cora. And I told them I'm probably going to finish around 12:15 to 12:30. And here it was like after 2 o'clock. So and when you look at the tracker, if somebody stops or doesn't make a cutoff, all of a sudden their tracker just isn't on anymore. Like, you don't know till later why. And I just wanted people to know I'm okay. I didn't crash or anything like that. So I was really panicked and really stressed out. And I was getting really sunburned because I wasn't thinking about sunscreen. I was really dehydrated and I was tired. So I got back to the finish. My tire was flat again. So I was like, I guess there is a hole in it. Come to find out, after my mechanic looked at it, there's like this teeny tiny hole, and the sealant just didn't fill it. And 100% it was my fault. I didn't get my bike tuned up before the race. I'm working on financial stuff, on not spending any money, on paying off debt, all that stuff. So I opted not to get my bike tuned up. Bad opt. So if you guys get your bike tuned up before your race, because that might have been the thing that saved me from my DNF. But whatever like it's already happened. There's nothing I could do about it. It's just a good reminder to get your bike tuned up before your race. So then that was it. The rest, I got to my phone. I could call Kat. They were, right by the finish at the beach. We hung out for a couple hours. I was exhausted. Ended up driving home around 5 o'clock. Got back to my sister's at 7 p.m. and was tired. I looked back and I think when I got my flat, I was in like 4th or 5th place. So I was really happy with that. And I live to do another race. So that was my first DNF, my first 7-mile walk in bike shoes. Ended up with some blisters on my heels, blisters on the top of my toes. It's all good. It was a good experience. Every race is an adventure. And to be honest, I love training so much. I love swimming, biking, and running on a weekly basis. And the race at this point is really just icing on the cake for me. So I am grateful that I feel this way, because I haven't always felt this way. I love racing hard just because I think it's fun. But there was nothing I could do in that moment. So I did what I could do. So if you have any questions about Oceanside, that was my 9th time doing the race. So wait, don't ask, because I didn't even remember how bumpy the course road was on the bike. So maybe I'm not the person to ask. No, feel free to ask. I can try to get you some answers. And if you have any questions about triathlon at all, this is my, I think, 29th year doing triathlon. So I've learned a couple things over the years that I am very happy to share with anyone who asks. So anyway, this was way longer. I didn't even run, and this race report got really long. So I'm going to sign off. Thanks for being here. Thanks for always supporting me and all my crazy adventures. I really appreciate my people, and I will see you guys at the next race. All right, bye.